Well, it's New Year's Eve. We went out to dinner and came home, and I decided since it was pouring down rain, I would pick out my projects for next year. And I started pulling all of my stash out, and, well, let me show you. This happened. Oh, yes. Yarn barf everywhere. To be organized. Stay tuned. This is the entrance to my room. It also doubles as a guest room. And over here is where I film, and I'll show that in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. And over here is a closet, and I will show you what's in there. This is up in like an attic portion of the house, so you can see the walls kind of slant down. And that was my rocking chair when I was a little kid. And over here is my collection of sheep, my knitting books and other books. And then here is the majority of the yarn in those white buckets, and I will explain what that is a little bit clearer in a few minutes. And there are my spinning rovings. And there goes Cricket. Cricket! There she is. There's the pupster. I'm now getting ready to open up my craft closet. Well, what's in there for the most part, so let me show you. I have my gift wrap on the door here that regularly attacks me. Let's flip the light on. The closet. This box here is my tub of shame, which if you've watched my videos, those are projects that did not quite work out well, and I'm waiting to rip them apart. The center section here, these little pads, are what I used for blocking boards until I got the current blocking boards that are actually up over here against the wall. This tub over here has fabric in it. These drawers here, this has my cross-stitch supplies. This has things from my Etsy shop that I had at one time. And this does as well. It has some novelty yarns in here as well. These are baby yarns. I don't use them all that much, but there's some baby yarn in there. These are some old stencils. I used to do a lot of stenciling, so that's the stencil materials. And these are just some gift wrapping supplies that go along with my gift wrapping tub right over here. These are the gift wrapping bags, and then I have some wrapping paper on the door that always falls out and hits me. Now down below here, I have in this blue bag right here, it just holds a lot of my needle stuff. I have tatting supplies in here. These are my bigger knitting needles. I have a hook rug latch right here, and this is a needle punch for making rugs. This container here holds my Tunisian crochet hooks, and then I have some of the short straight needles, which I very rarely use, but I keep them in here. So all of this kind of just tucks in together, and I just keep it that way. The tub of yarn that you can see right here, that is embroidery weight yarn. It's for doing doilies and things. And the basket down below, you can see it right here, this wicker basket, that is supplies that are bundled together. Those are projects that I hope to complete this year. So they are bagged and the patterns are with them. And those are the projects I've mentioned in my Make 9. All of those are in there. Then right over here is a plastic tub. And the plastic tub has my leftover worsted weight yarns. And then right next to it, right down here, I have some jewelry making supplies in that pink container. And the 2 boxes on the bottom over here actually have some leftover, it has some worsted weight that is acrylic, and it also has some bulky weight yarns. So there's 2 boxes there that have that. So that is the closet. Now this is where I usually film for the Saturday videos. I sit in the chair that's right below here. This is my sewing machine table, and I actually put the camera right in one of these drawers and it hangs out, and I just stick it whichever drawer works the best. So then this is like a tool index for screws and nuts and bolts and things, but I actually use it for buttons and sewing supplies and my thread. I have little labels on the front here for what color or what size buttons or what color buttons those are. And then the supplies you see sitting here are what I will be using for next Saturday's podcast. I just kind of put them together as I go so I can find them easy. The glare you usually see in my eyes while I'm talking is this light right here. It's my fluorescent light that I use for sewing, but it also gives me some light enough for the filming. These shelves over here are these drawers. There are 6 of them, and I got those at an auction, and they're labeled with sewing supplies as well. So there's zippers in there, there's elastic, bias tape, things like that, some oversized spools of thread that wouldn't fit in the other drawer system. So those are in here. Like I said, they're all labeled. My glue gun is in there, things like that. And this, again, is yarn that is for the shawl that I'm working on. Along the top of the shelf here, I have a whole bunch of little sheep. The sheep right over here on this end is one that I made, and I do have a pattern for that on Ravelry. And the rest are just different sheep that people have given me. The books in here are knitting patterns and knitting books and decorating books, because I like decorating and I like organizing things. So there's organizing books that are there as well. Then my shelves here, I don't know how well you're going to be able to read it. Oh, here you go. This is paired skeins, and what this is, I've actually have patterns and yarn that I'm going to combine together. So these 2, for instance, were yarn. These 2, for instance, were yarn that came in a knit crate, and then this came in a later knit crate, but it just happens to match. So I know that they're going together. I don't necessarily know what project they're going to go for, but that's what this whole bundle is yarns that I have put together. So they're called paired skeins. And I also have a second bin of them here. For instance, I have this yarn, and I know I'm going to put it together with this blue. So I don't have a project in mind, but I have them bundled. So there's another one that's some blues that I'm working on. Next to that, this is a little doll that a friend of mine made years ago. And the blue yarn is some that I got at a warehouse. And this is just a command hook that fell off of the wall. But this is some yarn that will go into a sweater later on. And down on this shelf, this is what's left over from the Cooper spur. I've got enough probably to make another sweater. It's kind of dark, so it's not showing up real well. And behind it, I have, you can see it right there, I have some green. It's kind of a sage color green. I'll pull it out so you can see it. There you go. And again, I got these at a warehouse up in Rhode Island. Down here I have more sheep, and I have some extra just leftover yarn sitting back here. This bin here are 1 skein fingerings. These are like leftovers. Like these are leftover from the shawl I'm currently knitting. They're just like 1 skein things that I could combine down the road with other yarns. So they're kind of the leftover bits and pieces, but they're for the most part fingering weight. Over here I have a label. It says right here, it says standalones. These are yarns that I'm not combining with anything else. For instance, this yarn that I just bought and showed last week, I'm not going to combine it with anything. This yarn also, the Ubiquitous that I bought some of the Christmas money as well, I'm not going to mix it with anything. At least I don't think so. So these are yarns. These two will be combined. But a lot of these are just yarns that are, like I said, standalones. They're not going with anything else. They're just going to be a single project and just 1 color. Down here I have lace weight yarns. I have a couple of fingering weight in here that just wouldn't fit up here, but most of these are all lace weight yarns, which I don't knit with all that often. I think if I did, I would probably combine and hold 2 yarns together. But those are all lace weights. And then lastly down here I have heavy worsted weights, and I'll pull it out so you can see it better. And there you can see those. Those are more heavy worsted weights. Then over in this pile here, these are my different rovings that I'm going to spin. So I have several in there. And that is my craft room.